in a broad perspective, obviously we're looking at Airbus and Boeing to see what new platforms, what modifications they come out with. We adapt our products to these new requirements.
Many of our customers put much attention on the functional aspects of the product. So they come with their idea how to set up the whole cabin layout. They have an idea of what catering equipment they would like to have.
We put our emphasis on quality and reliability of our products. We design the galleys to last as long as the airframe.
One of the main drivers we see is actually reducing weight, and this is actually what drives our manufacturing technologies and also the materials we use. So we see a trend towards lighter materials. We see on the second hand, of course, as well, a trend towards using less carbon footprint materials in production and end of life.
We operate and design and manufacture our product in Switzerland, Germany, and in the United States. So definitely not the cheapest places to design and manufacture.
The key here is actually to have a really coherent setup and already in the design phase. So we're already in the early stage of designing a product. We're thinking about the supply chain. We involve the different parties, so either the supplier or our own production, we involve our supply chain.
I think that will be a major part of our investments in our galley business as well as our emergency equipment business.
Yeah, to start off with you operate globally across a number of service areas, and this includes catering, cabin, and emergency medical systems. In particular, you do produce a very customer-specific product with a great need for detail. Now, as the industry today adapts to new norms, how do you best position your product and describe it when introducing it to clients or seeking renewals in today's market?
Yes, we operate and design and manufacture our product in Switzerland, Germany, and the United States. So definitely not the cheapest places to design and manufacture. So we put our emphasis on quality and reliability of our products, and we're a well-known supplier in the industry with high flexibility and good on-time performance. So that's how we kind of position ourselves and our products in the market.
Now, David, one of your vision statements is flying with minimum weight and maximum reliability. And your product plays such a crucial role in the service quality of an airline's onboard product. What aspects or benefits are most sought after from your clients when they approach you?
Well, typically we are in the working environment in the aircraft. So it's actually a field where the crew operates, and then it might get at some point also stressy. So many of our customers put much attention on the functional aspects of the product. So they come with their idea how to set up the whole cabin layout. They have an idea of what catering equipment they would like to have incorporated. And our aim then is to bring up a solution which matches their desires as best as possible. So we bring all the technical aspects into the product which are required to have it certified, to bring it into flight, to bring it into the aircraft. So we do the things behind the scenes, and our customers are typically focusing on the operation, on the functionality.
Yeah, coming back to you, and you mentioned about your customers, which of course today are both airlines and manufacturers. How do you maintain this symbiotic relationship with them?
Yes, that's a great question. We indeed serve OEMs as well as airline customers. The requirements are different, definitely, but there is also some, I'd say, characteristics which are the same for both customer groups, and that is again quality and reliability that actually both customer group require and demand. And then Also, on-time delivery, flexibility. What we offer is also the same for both customers. But in terms of design, in terms of manufacturing processes, the customers have a slightly different requirements.
Now, David, just stemming off what Biad highlighted here, one of your galleys was put into service back in 2008, and it went through a 17-year cycle, which then led to its overhaul and renewal. Could you take us through some of the key checkpoints for this galley in that time span?
Yes, it's actually for us it's a really interesting story because we have not so often the chance to see what happens with our product after the first delivery, and here we have really the full story. So we can see that it went through 4 different customer or airliner logos in the end. It's an A319 Galley, which has operated first for the first 10 years in one airline, then switched the ownership, came back to the same airline, and in the last chapter, before it came back to the overhaul, it had a last station for the last 4 years in a Forge airline. And for us, it's just interesting to see in what good condition such a galley can be after such a long journey. And also from engineering perspective, of course, it's interesting to have the learnings and to see how can we improve, how can we even further improve what we have seen there. But in the end, the overall condition is really still great after 70 years, and we were really proud to be able to make this job, to overhaul the galley here in our house, and to give them to give it a second life in the end, and bring it back to operation.
David, still with you and taking a closer look at the design of your clients' galleys, as well as that improvement process that you implement within them. What are some of the specifications and factors and the outcomes that are at the forefront of your design process?
Well, it typically starts with the airliner's specification of the aircraft itself. So, where do we integrate our solution, which gives the main conditions? So the layout of the cabin, the aircraft by itself, which just set up the scene. From our side, we typically think about what are the solutions we already have, proven solutions in good quality, which are already available. And of course, we're thinking about what additional benefits can we bring to our customers. So where can we integrate new functionalities, new features, and new materials? Our aim is actually to bring the right material at the right place. Lightweight is part of the company name as well. So typically one of the requirements and objectives we're following through the design process is actually to have the minimum weight required combined with the good quality we're known for.
Yeah, maybe giving us an overview of the full lifespan. Could you take us through the lifespan cycle of your galleys and some of the overhaul requirements?
Yeah, I mean, David already touched on this a little bit. So we obviously manufacture the galley, put it in an aircraft, and then the operator is responsible or does the regular checks, the regular inspections. From our side, there is no need to change certain parts at any point during the life of the galley. We design the galleys to last as long as the airframe, and so there's really no overhaul requirements from our side, except for what we state obviously in our manual, which is just to visually inspect the parts and replace them if they do break.
Now, taking a broader look at the industry here, obviously it is facing headwinds from the global supply chain issues and some of the delays. And today, Bucher prides itself on being an on-time delivery supplier. How are you navigating these market dynamics as well as reassuring your clients as well? So, yeah, off to you with this one first.
Also, great question. Coming out of the Corona crisis, we're definitely facing a lot of headwinds from the supply chain, or that the whole industry is ramping up to the production rates before Corona, which obviously puts a lot of challenges on the supply chain, and it's been tough the last couple of months to maintain on-time performance, but we're working hard on 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 improving that and maintaining our reputation.
And David, just looking at the global supply chain, stemming off what Bia spoke on, obviously these disruptions do pose a challenge, especially when maintaining access to some of the high tensile and lightweight material that you do use within your products. What are some of your solutions from an engineering perspective, especially when ensuring the continuity of your production chain?
Yes, well, the key here is actually to have a really concurrent setup and already in the design phase. So we're already in the early stage of designing a product. We're thinking about the supply chain. We involve the different parties. So either the supplier or our own production. We involve our supply chain guys here in-house, just to have at any review or milestone during the project that we have a closer view on the availability, also on cost and lead times for each product. We're also here concurrently organizing our processes in order to take account of the lead time of the different materials, that we are able to have it at the right point.
And just looking at delivering the right product for your client, David, to you, is there a differentiation of your product between narrow and wide body aircraft?
Well, actually, there's an obvious one, which is just geometry. So of course, the fuselage of a wide-body aircraft is much larger. So, that means the monument by themselves are larger and heavier, which is also required to compensate for more room and gross weight in the end. But nonetheless, from quality point of view or complexity, for us it's almost the same. So it integrates in the same systems we have typically also in the narrow bodies. We have all the systems like electricity, we have cooling, we have water involved, we have the structures which are on the same level of complexity as for the wide body, which just adds some more complexity. In the wide body is actually more weight, larger spans, more place to distribute material, which gives a little bit of more complexity in these products.
Now, the industry demand for narrow and wide body aircraft obviously are a key stimulator, especially for the demand for galleys. Beat, what's your forecast for the demand growth over the next decade or so?
Yeah, so that was a correct statement, that the production rates of new aircraft is a key stimulator for our galleys, or for the demand for our galleys. We install most of our products into new aircraft. So the OEMs forecast about 40,000 new aircraft over the next 20 years. So this is obviously production rates that we haven't seen even before Corona, and those numbers plus what's going on in the retrofit market um, is clearly equals a higher demand of galleys than what we've seen so far.
Now, taking a look at the industry itself, there's higher visibility on sustainability initiatives. And you, as Booker, you passionately communicate about your commitment to sustainable development, especially to a better future. How has your approach to manufacturing and the use of materials changed over time, especially in the context of developing your galleys? David, could you start us off with this one?
Yes, it's a pleasure. Yes, of course. We see a movement towards more lightweight materials. So there's a due to the fact that you look at sustainability, most of the carbon footprint of an aircraft is actually during the use phase, and this is directly correlated to the fuel it takes to have the operation working, and the fuel consumption is actually directly correlated to the weight of the aircraft by itself. So one of the main drivers we see is actually reducing weight, and this is actually what drives our manufacturing technologies and also the materials we use. So we see a trend towards lighter materials. We see on the second hand, of course, as well, a trend towards using less carbon footprint materials in production and end of life, of course. So there's both trends, but there's an emphasis on lightweight, of course, due to the fact that most of the emissions are generated during the use phase.
David, could you highlight some of the technological advancements within the aircraft galley equipment industry, of course, that have led to the rise or a rise in more efficient and sustainable production methods?
Well, one major trend, of course, is the use of plastics, particularly reinforced plastics, glass fiber or carbon fiber reinforced plastic. They come with their own manufacturing processes, of course, which also need some investments in order to be able to do this. And we see a shift there that typically coming from a purely aluminum structure towards mixed material designs, which is today's state of the art. Also in our equipment, we use many different materials. And the trend goes to increase just the percentage of fiber reinforced plastic, particularly. We see future trends coming up there as well, which, for instance, take into account the sustainability of these reinforcements. Carbon fiber is not only known for its high strength, but also comes, unfortunately, with a huge carbon footprint. And also there we are looking for the next generation of materials, which might give us a better sustainability index there as well.
Now, Beat, we're also seeing a rise in environmental consciousness and, as David highlighted, the adoption of these sustainability practices across the spectrum of manufacturing industries. What are some of your aspects from the Bucher Group in this aspect?
Yeah, so we just recently committed to the Swiss Agency of Economics to reducing our CO2 emissions from our production and our development processes by 80% over the next 10 years. So we have quite a few measures in place, and we'll be putting measures in place to reach that target over the next 10 years.
And just on this optimistic forecast of the galley industry, as you highlighted, Beat, over the next decade, where are you focusing your investments? And Beat, I'd like to get insight from you, and then David next.
Yeah, so in a broad perspective, obviously we're looking at Airbus and Boeing to see what new platforms, what modifications they come out with. We adapt our products to these new requirements and new platforms, if there is any. I think that will be a major part of our investments in our galley business as well as our emergency equipment business.
And David, your insight into that?
Well, actually, from the product side, we are, of course, trying to adopt new materials, as I said before, which will help us. We're also increasing the transparency for our customers. So we are diving into, for instance, lifecycle assessments, where we have a closer look at what happens with our products, to give also transparency to our customers, which will definitely help to guide decisions there as well. And we see a further trend, which is just the functional integration. So to bring lightweight design to the next level, where we try to reduce the number of parts, where we try to integrate things or functionalities in one simpler design, which is also easier for production and for recycling in the end of life.
you.